Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. We're about to dive into the murky world of Kamala Harris campaign, where truth goes to die. We're not just talking about run-of-the-mill political spin here. No, we're talking about full-blown disinformation, a blitz that would make even the most seasoned propagandists blush. From outrageous claims about Trump's plans to blatant fear-mongering, Harris is pulling out all the stops, but here's the kicker: America isn't buying it. So stay tuned as we expose the lies and reveal the truth. Now check this out. Are you listening? Just as Harris' campaign is spreading misinformation, recent reports show that drivers with dash cams are 60% less likely to be found at fault in traffic accidents. This easy-to-install dash cam records every detail on the road, offering collision documentation, 24/7 security, and memorable drive capture. Featuring 4K Ultra HD night vision, 24/7 motion detection, and loop recording, it's a must-have for enhanced road safety. Drive with more confidence and peace of mind. Visit carvisionx.com. You'll find it linked below. You'll get free express shipping and several bonuses with every order during their limited late summer special. Well, we're going to fall now, so fall special. So don't miss out on the opportunity to increase your safety and security on the road. Now, check this out. Walz says his handlers don't want him to talk off the cuff because, well,
what? Rick said they don't want me to talk off the cuff. Neither does my team because they know what that means. Rick said,
yeah, because you're going to lie. You're actually going to lie to the American people. That's what you're good at. So Walz has been out there on the campaign trail. He's been doing interviews. Kamala Harris, of course, this is the narrative they're pushing right now. This is the military narrative.
He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about this. And we know who he would target. And we know who he would target because he has attacked them before. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like. Election officials who refuse to cheat by filling extra votes and finding extra votes for him. Judges who insist on following the law. He is saying...
Okay, so she's saying that Trump's going to take the military to go after journalists, election officials, and judges. That's what she just declared. I would personally, if I was her, I'd be more afraid of Trump going after her and Joe Biden, and, John Brennan, right? That's where they should really be afraid. Because he has said he has vowed retribution. He's also said his retribution is going to be his success. But I would not mind seeing this woman in an orange jumpsuit and Gitmo. And here's another. This is Tim Walz repeating that.
But over the weekend, Donald Trump said he might use the army on people he disagrees with. I'll let the lawyers decide how serious that goes, but that's not who we are. Over the weekend,
but you'll use the justice system to go after people that you disagree with, like Donald Trump. How many cases have you guys thrown against him? Okay, so maybe he will up the ante. You guys are going to use the justice system. Well, guess what? He's the commander-in-chief. He's going to sick the freaking military on your ass. Maybe that's what has to happen. I don't know. Does he have that kind of executive authority to rout out the snakes in DC? I mean, what executive authority did Abraham Lincoln use in the Civil War to bring the Union back together? He went to some pretty extreme measures, didn't he? Have they been challenged? Are they still on the books? Are those laws that Abraham Lincoln used? Can Trump use them too? These guys are really afraid. I think that's what it really comes down to. So disinformation is continuing to spread from the Kamala Harris campaign. Listen to this.
The president, the vice president, I think this is true. I think this might be the first Democratic ticket where both the president and the vice president are gun owners this time. So that's something. Yeah, it's something. And I say this.
These guys are trying so hard. Look what he's wearing. He's wearing a flannel and a ball cap, and he's trying to like be like regular guy. I'm not wearing my suit and tie today. I'm not politician Joe today. No. I mean, it's like when he went pheasant hunting, couldn't figure out how to load his shotgun. These people are all photo ops and frauds. Smoke and mirrors. It's like, yeah, hey, I think we may be the only presidential ticket in history that had guns. Well, can we get a fact check on that? Let's see what the fact checkers say. Fact checkers say, where are my fact checkers? So many. Okay. Completely false and a desperate attempt at pandering to rural voters. It is, however, the most anti-gun ticket in American history. Yeah, like what? You think that like Trump or Vance don't own guns either? This is another sickening moment from Touchdown Timmy today.
And Senator Vance, he became a media darling. He wrote a book about the place he grew up, but the premise was trashing that place where he grew up rather than lifting it up. This guy's a venture capitalist cosplaying like he's a cowboy or something. I don't even know what a venture capitalist does most of the time. And Senator Vance,
he's ripping Vance for writing a successful book. The book was turned into a film. He became a senator. Now he's vice president. He's going to be vice president. And they're just ripping him for that. That sounds like the American dream to me. Well, guess what? Well, Vance had something to say in response to that. Yeah, he posted this on, where did he post? I have the tweet. Well, I know he said this here.
Apparently copied some chunks of her book. I saw today, actually, a story that Kamala Harris apparently copied some significant chunks of her book from Wikipedia. So if you want a president with their own ideas, vote for Donald Trump. If you want a president who copies her own ideas from Wikipedia, vote for Kamala Harris.
Now, if you don't know what she's talking about, there's a big scandal going on with her plagiarizing huge sections of the book. Oh, this is the point. Yeah. J.D. Vance, I wrote my own. This is what he wrote. Hi, I'm J.D. Vance. I wrote my own book, unlike Kamala Harris, who copied hers from Wikipedia. And Walz is attacking him for writing a book and being successful. J.D. Vance, perfect comeback. And here's part of that investigation. More plagiarism has been discovered. A follow-up from our story on this yesterday. The 7th instance of significant plagiarism by Kamala Harris. She copied the language verbatim from a California government website, substituting a single word rather than paraphrasing it or putting it in quotations. Look at that. This is on the right side. You have meganslaw.ca.gov. And then on the left, you have Kamala Harris's book. And you can see the only word that was changed was the words A in Megan's Law. To some. Kamala Harris caught in a scandal. And I know she's going to be going on Fox. I wonder if she's going to get challenged. Now, if you remember Donald Trump, when he talked about the Operation Aurora, and he said when he gets into office, he's going to enact the Illegal Alien Act of 1798, or the Alien Act of 1798, the Alien Enemies Act. I forget what it's called now. And he's going to use it to deport all these criminals who are in the United States. Now, if you remember from our previous report, Donald Trump had a very specific number, because the reporter, well, I think I could just play the clip here. Here, I think I have the clip. Yeah, we'll just play the clip real quick because it's important for the context of this discussion. Okay. He said, we're going to deport, 11. Let's see. It was a great clip. I'm actually right here. Yeah.
It came out, I want a lot of people to come into our country, but I want them to come in legally. I don't want to have...
that means you will have to deport. You know, you are talking about deporting 11 million people. That is a lot of people to take out.
It came out last week that 425,000 people are horrible criminals at the highest level, but it came out that 13,099 were let in during their administration. They tried to say longer, wrong. Over the last 3.5 years, 13,000 plus people came in, murderers. They're in jail for murder.
13,000 plus. He has a specific number in mind of who he intends to deport. But yet, Kamala Harris goes on this town hall and receives this phone call. Listen.
Act of 1790. Could you please respond to Trump's claim that he's going to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to round up immigrants if he wins the election? This law was last used to put Asian Americans in internment camps during World War II, and I have a sneaking suspicion that if Trump wins, he's going to use this law to put anyone that doesn't look white in camps, and I'm scared.
So anyone who doesn't look white is going to get rounded up. That's what this guy is alluding to. This is on CNN. This is the language being projected on CNN, despite the fact that Trump went at the Economic Club and he said 13,000 murderers, so there is a list that's already in existence. Let's be very clear about that. He knows. Okay, years ago, there was a big operation. I forget what it was called. It was a multi-state operation. And they executed like 13,000 warrants at the same exact moment. It was a massive, massive roundup. I forget what exactly it was, but I remember covering it years ago. And what I took away from that moment is that level of coordinated execution of a roundup could actually take place. And at the time, I was actually more concerned of patriots being rounded up. Okay? That's always a concern, because back then you had the Mayak report, you had anyone with the Don't Tread on Me flag was a terrorist. If you supported Ron Paul, you had a Ron Paul bumper sticker, you were a terrorist. These are the things that are being put out by the Department of Homeland Security years and years ago. So these were legitimate concerns. So when you talk about that in the context of having an operation that's capable of executing a mass roundup, 13,000 people, it can be done. But this caller is trying to allude that he's just going to go willy-nilly rounding up anybody who's not white. And that's how brain dead these people are. That's how brainwashed they are. It's because of the dangerous rhetoric that comes out of the mouths of people like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, touchdown Timmy Walz. Now, let's hear how Kamala responds to this.
Anyone that doesn't look white in camps, and I'm scared.
Yeah, so you've hit on a really important point and expressed it, I think, so well, which is he is achieving his intended effect to make you scared. He is running full-time on a campaign that is about instilling fear.
He's about instilling fear? No, he's talking about removing murderers from this country. Who's talking about fear? Well, Kamala Harris is talking about fear. She's talking about, what does she say? You tell me. Is this fear? Man, I'm so angry. Does this sound like fear?
To cheat. He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about this. And we know who he would target. And we know who he would target because he has attacked them before. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like.
Okay, so she says that Trump's running a campaign of fear. Here she is running a fucking campaign of fear right here. Man. Don't get me started. Man. Okay, so There's more disinformation we got to unpack here. This was really, really sick when I saw this. Kamala Harris just threw a bomb on Columbus Day, accusing European immigrants of violence, stealing land, and spreading disease.
That has since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today.
And what about you, Kamala? Both your parents, aren't they both immigrants? And they came to this country? Is that right? Are you the beneficiary of immigrants? Are you the beneficiary of someone else's work, like maybe Christopher Columbus or the early explorers of America? I think you are. Kamala Harris is right now, with that statement, I was so furious when I saw that. She accused European immigrants of violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. This is an assault on our history. This is not about truth. It is about destruction. She wants to tear down everything that built this nation, and the globalists are laughing while she spits on the legacy of America. Wake up, people. This is not about righting wrongs. It's about control, division, and erasing everything that we stand for, and she's coming for you next. Donald Trump was with Glenn Beck as well. 9 hours ago, this Trump War Room dropped this, and he weighed in on the flip-flopping of Kamala.
She's changed 15. I mean, from fracking to crime to this to that to borders. She all of a sudden now wants to have a strong border. And she acts like nothing happened. You know, where was she for 4 years, right? But I've never seen anything like it. If you go back 2 years, just go back into their primaries and listen to what she said and what she voted for. And now every one of those things have been thrown out. So I don't know. You know, I mean, let's see what happens. I can't imagine you could get away with it. But there's another thing. It's called competence. And, you know, they tried the threat to democracy with me. They tried it all. They tried everything. But let's look at now their competence. The woman is not a competent person. And I think far less competent than Biden. And I never thought I'd be saying it. But there's something going on. I mean, I watched her with a teleprompter. Her teleprompter broke, and she kept going. 32, 32.
That was amazing.
That was wild when that happened, for sure. She didn't know what to say. Here's more disinformation straight from the mouth of Kamala Harris. And I'm only playing this stuff because we have to be tuned to what the lies they are telling the American people. Because when you are faced with a conversation with somebody that you love, you need to know the language that's being used to deceive those people. And if you love those around you and you truly want to bring them to the right side of history, you need to know how to disarm the bombs that have gone off in their life and blinded them.
Of prescription meds, they are trying to scare people away because they know they otherwise have nothing to run on. Ask Donald Trump what his plan is for Black America. Ask him. I'll tell you what it is. Look at Project 2025. Project 2025 tells you the plan.
They've been pumping this Project 2025 live repeatedly. And if anybody who's listening to that show had half a brain and they Googled what has Donald Trump said about Project 2025, they will find 1 million hits of him saying it has nothing to do with it. He didn't set it up, blah, 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 blah. Set up by the Heritage Foundation, a think tank, to create a bureaucratic infrastructure that would support him. That's all. And they make it sound like it's the devil.
It includes making police departments have stop and frisk policies. The plan includes making it more difficult for workers to receive overtime pay. The plan includes ending the ability of Medicare to negotiate drug prices. You know what we have done? He said he would. We did, which means that that's how we brought down the cost of prescription medication. His plan includes making it more difficult for working people to get by and to destroy.
How? I mean, it's just making up stuff.
Our democracy. You know what he says he'll do? Terminate the Constitution of the United States.
That's right.
Let me remind folks.
I still haven't found that. Could somebody email that to me? What is this a reference to? Repeatedly, I keep hearing he's going to terminate the Constitution. Is this the whole dictator on day one thing? They're just twisting it into that? I don't know.
You know what's in the Constitution of the United States? The Fourth Amendment, which protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. The Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and he's going to terminate the Constitution of the United States? Which I
don't even care. Did she mention the first or the second? No, because they don't want the First Amendment. They don't want you to own guns. Harris proposes $1 million in forgivable loans to black entrepreneurs as Trump makes inroads with the black community. Yeah, she's now, think about that. Harris proposes 1 million forgivable loans for black entrepreneurs. That's straight up you trying to buy votes. Robbie Starbuck weighing in. This is blatantly illegal. Kamala knows it will never happen. This is a scam by Kamala in hopes of tricking people into voting for her. What she's actually saying with this is that she thinks black voters aren't smart enough to know this will never happen. Very desperate. It would never pass Congress. It would never get to the White House Oval Office desk. That's why when these people make promises, you have to ask, how are you going to do it? Pink unicorns for everybody, right? Everybody gets a Tesla. Well, how are you going to do it? Well, I'm just going to get through Congress. We're going to pass a bill through Congress. Okay, how many members of Congress you got to get? 535? How many are Democrats? How many Republicans? Oh. Yeah, see, it's not that easy. You can't just make these promises. And someone like Kamala Harris, I don't think she's going to be able to negotiate shit. But Donald Trump, you know what? When he says something, I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt because he's a negotiator. Kamala Harris negotiates on her knees. So we've also got this. So who's pulling the strings of Kamala Harris? Well, the medical records thing has also been been up for a point of contention by the Harris campaign.
Listen is something. Can I make one?
So this guy who claims to be a real man is now challenging Donald Trump's manhood. This guy looks like an effeminate cuck.
One point about men, because I think you raised something. I think that if you're a man, you're not afraid to put out your medical records. If Donald Trump was a real man, he'd put out his medical records. And so I think he shouldn't be afraid to show the country his health and mental and physical fitness before this election. It's something we've been talking about for the last few days. And if he's watching, I hope he understands the importance of telling the American people whether you're up to the job by showing your health information and showing whether you can be fit.
Well, maybe Harris will ask him about it. We haven't heard that being a major issue from voters.
Can I make one point about men?
Make your point about men, because you seem to be an expert, buddy. Here we have, this is more, this was another point. So I don't mean to be jumping all over, but I'm trying to point out that we are being hit right now with so much disinformation. It's off the charts. It is off the charts. And I put on my X today, I put on my profile, I asked the question, why are we hearing so much about election theft? Why are we talking about 2020 again? Why does that question keep coming up? Well, here we have another question. This is brought a day ago. Brett Baer, listen to this. Listen to this.
That it has all the classic earmarks of a Russian campaign in the way it was disseminated and propagated through media.
Do you regret signing on to the letter?
Oh, absolutely not, because those words are still true.
Do you think
it has all the
changed
classic
outcome
earmarks?
Of an election?
Oh, absolutely not. No,
Even though it wasn't true. It had the classic earmarks, but it wasn't true.
What is not true?
That it was Russian disinformation.
That's not what we said in the letter. Read the actual letter, and we said we do not know if this is Russian disinformation.
It has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation.
Exactly. The difference between an information campaign and a disinformation campaign
not get to candidate
and a
Joe
misinformation
Biden.
campaign. It's not my fault if people don't look up definitions.
I know, but the purpose of the letter is to have an effect. And the nuance that you're talking about here never made it to candidate Biden because he said it plainly on a debate stage that obviously affected the dynamic. Yeah. Don't you think?
I would absolutely love for all news media to show nuance on all these issues instead of racing to sound bites. And in this,
okay, dude, this guy signed the letter, the Hunter Biden laptop letter. He's trying to play word games. We all know what it was about. This guy's lying through his teeth. At least Brett Baer is trying to hold his own against this guy, right? This makes me so mad. This guy's like, oh no. It says it had the earmarks. We didn't say it was Russian. It had the earmarks of Russian disinformation campaign. We didn't say it was, but it had the earmarks. And then Brett Baer goes, well, listen. Biden said 51 intelligence agents said that my son doesn't have all this dirty stuff with Russian hookers. And all of my emails about Ukraine. And all those pictures with his nieces. Right? And this guy's, I mean, I give the guy credit for even going on Fox, to tell you the truth. But I'm glad he did, because now we can see how full of shit he is.
Some news media race to sound bites. That's not helpful for the American people. And I really wish that people...
was helpful for the American people?
Well, instead of quoting one sentence from it, if people actually read maybe an entire paragraph, it shows that we don't know if it's Russian.
It affected anything?
I don't know if it affected anything. We don't analyze American political environments.
I don't know if it affected anything. You knew exactly what you were doing when you signed it. Just like the founding fathers knew when they signed the Declaration of Independence. But this is a completely different letter. You interfered in an election by contributing to misinformation that was laundered by President Biden on a debate stage. Well, I can't believe he didn't. No one else looked at the words. Joe Biden. Blah, 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 blah.
What we were trying to do is point out that this has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information campaign. Not to say it's Russian disinformation, but to say that the propagation through American media and international media has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information campaign, because we've seen it over and over and over again. They love to sow these kind of divisions and exacerbate them. That's not American. That's Russian.
I got you.
Yeah.
But it ended up...
What are you, dude? What are you? Okay, there was another thing I want to bring to your attention as well. Okay, so Glenn Beck asked Trump, who's running the country?
Know who the committee is.
Who's actually the president, Mr. President?
Well, I think it's a committee of people, and they might not even know who the committee is. They may not even know themselves. Does that make sense? It's a group of people that are in different levels of D.C., and they surround a man that was not the most capable person. By the way, never was.
Right.
But certainly not anymore.
Yeah.
And she's worse than he is. She's worse than he is. And the difference is she was a believer. You know, she was a believer for a long time. She was a Marxist
for
a long time. She's further left than Bernie. You've heard that many times.
Yeah.
Talk about it. But she's further left than Pocahontas, okay? Pocahontas is probably further left than Bernie, I think. I don't know how you rate him. I'd have to go by your scale. I believe in your scale maybe more than mine. You know better. But if you think about it, we have some people, and she is considered the most left in the entire Senate, and not the...
Yeah. So, is there any more? Do I have any more clips here lined up for you? Oh, this was good too. Tom Fitton on Fox, okay? Here's more about Kamala's coup. Listen to this.
Just disappear.
Let me share this. This very quickly is just a note I want to share. I'm not going to play the soundbite, but Kamala Harris was talking about how she ended up in this position as the de facto nominee for the Democratic Party. And I'm just curious, as someone who studies this from an election law perspective, isn't this also disenfranchising Democrat Party voters? Because you basically said, you don't need to be voted on. We're just going to place you in there because the guy you worked with is stepping down.
Never before in modern history has all the primaries taken place.
Yeah.
In this case, 14 million votes. They just disappear. And to me, there are significant legal issues related to that, civil rights issues.
Absolutely.
And I would think the states and the federal government would have an interest in figuring out how the coup happened.
Yeah, how the coup happened. Tom Fitton, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for coming in on a Friday. We'll see you again real soon.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, she didn't get any votes, and she's not going to get any more votes next time either. Okay, so I think we beat this horse to death with all these clips. Oh, we have another clip here? I guess we do. Oh, yeah, speaking of the coup.
I would say the most the world.
Did you watch the debate with Biden?
We did.
Did you think he did well?
No, I would say the most the world would agree he did not do well.
Yeah. So anyway, they forced him out. It was like a coup. And then this is like Dana would have a fighter, and the fighter's getting, doing badly, and they say, let's take him out and put a new one in. This never happened before. So they got him out and they put this one in. And she was number 13 online because she failed already. She had, she tried to get the nomination and she failed. There were 22 people and she came in last. She never made it to Iowa. And now all of a sudden, this can only happen to me, fellas. I have won. I spent $150 million to beat him. And I was leading by a lot. And then they take him out and they give me another one. That's never happened before. It was like a palace coup. And he doesn't like her. He hates her. I think he hates her as much as he hates her. Yeah. I think Biden hates me. He hates me a lot, but I think he hates her maybe as much or more than he hates me. Is that possible? I don't know. Hard to believe.
All right, folks. So what we're seeing from the Harris campaign is not just desperate, it's dangerous. They're peddling fear, spreading lies, and hoping you won't notice. But here's the thing. Americans are smarter than that. They don't think you are. We see through the smoke and mirrors. So the question is, what's next? How far will they go to cling to power? And more importantly, how do we fight back against this tidal wave of disinformation? Well, you start by the Next News Network. You start by subscribing. You start by following us on X, on Rumble. Let us know in the comments, how are you staying informed in this age of fake news?